Left behind. Are the Sixers being left behind before the season even starts?
You are Locked On 76ers, your daily Philadelphia 76ers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hello, I'm Keith Pompey. Thanks for making Locked On 76ers your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Gametime, right? I love Gametime. What you need to do is you need to download the Gametime app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Do it today, people. I'm telling you, definitely do it today. Now, here's the deal. I want to talk to y'all about the 76ers and, asking this question. Have they been left behind before the season even started, right? And the reason why I'm saying that is because you look at it, the news broke on Sunday that Drew Holiday, the Portland Trail Blazers traded Drew Holiday to the Boston Celtics in exchange for Malcolm Brogdon, Robert Williams III, and a couple of draft picks, right? So one is a 2024 first round pick from the Golden State Warriors, and the other one, I believe, is a 2029 from Boston, right? When you look at this, and you see what the Milwaukee Bucks have done. You know, the Milwaukee Bucks basically replaced Drew Holiday with Dame Lillard. Now, Dame is a better offensive player. He's a guy who can be a closer. Now, if Chris Middleton is healthy, and if Chris Middleton gets back to playing at that all-star level that he played at before, with Giannis Antetokounmpo, Dame Lillard, and the slew of role players that team has, you have to say that they are a contender, right? I mean, they elevated themselves. They have a shot of winning their second championship, a legitimate shot of winning their second championship, NBA championship in 4 years, right? Then you go ahead and now you say that was before when they got him. But then the Sixers were trying to get Drew, so were other teams. Sunday, Boston made the trade. And you look at it and you say, when Boston got Kristaps Porzingis in a 3-team trade, they got him from Washington. Part of that deal, Marcus Smart, the heart and soul of the team, was sent to the Memphis Grizzlies, right? And you say to yourself, man, yeah, they got Kristaps, but they lost a solid defender. They lost the heart and soul. I don't know if you're going to replace him. Malcolm Brogdon is a little upset because, he feels as if, he was on the trading block, because he was on the trading block before, and he didn't like that. So there were some people saying Boston got better. There were other people saying, we don't know. But they kept saying, if they got Drew Holiday, favorite to win the championship. Well, they got him. And when you look at Drew Holiday, you say to yourself, man, he might be a better fit than Marcus Smart was. But then you have Kristaps Porzingis to go along with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown and Drew Holiday. Oh, this team is favored. Now, again, some people may say that everybody's sleeping on Denver. Denver won the championship last year. They got Nikola Jokic, he and Joel Embiid are the two best centers in the league, arguably, the two best players in the league, right? But then you say, but they got Drew. to go along with these other three guys. And now the thing that you lost to get Kristaps, you bring it back. And he won't be as hard on the young core as Smart was. And some people may say they got tired of hearing it. But now you got Drew. So then you look at the Sixers and you say to yourself, the Sixers, their best offseason move was matching the Utah Jazz's offer 3-year deal for Paul Reed. The Sixers got 5 centers. Now, again, all of them aren't going to play center. We know that. One of them is hurt, right? And then, you say, okay, they picked up Kelly Oubre at the minimum. They picked up Patrick Beverly. They picked up Mo Bamba. Now, all these guys are solid. They're all solid. And they're all a bargain. Now, whatchamacallit got 3 years, $23.5 million. The first year is guaranteed. The other 2, they got to make the playoffs for that to follow that for the next year to be. They may got to make the second round of playoffs. So they have to make the second round of playoffs for Paul Reed's second year to be fully guaranteed, and then next year they would have to make the second round of playoffs for his final year to be fully guaranteed. But outside of that, these other acquisitions got the veteran minimum, right? They also picked up Danny Green. So you say to yourself, you're like, these guys are good, but there's still some question marks, right? Still some question marks. And you can say it may be a reason they could only get minimum deals, right? And as good as these guys are, role players and stuff like that, the Milwaukee Bucks and the Boston Celtics. Now, the Bucks lost in the first round. They were first seed in the playoffs, lost in the first round last year. But you have to say, although the Sixers made it to the second round, the Bucks were better than the Sixers, right? When they had head-to-head, when they did stuff like the Sixers, the Bucks were a team that were better than the Sixers. Boston defeated the Sixers in the playoffs. Boston, was better as well. So those two teams elevated. And right now you look at the Sixers and they still dealing with that James Harden situation. A lot of dysfunction. Is James going to come to media day? Is James going to come to training camp? You understand what I'm saying? There's a lot of that going on. So with that being said, you ask yourself, you're like, did the Sixers get left behind? And I think they did. I really do. They got left behind. Now, again, it's still a long season to be played, right? There's a lot that's going to go on. But right now, when you look at the moves that executives made in the offseason, the Sixers were supposed to trade James Harden. They didn't trade him as of yet. These other two teams made power moves, and they're going to have I don't know. It's like they're behind the 8 ball. Let's just put it that way. They're just behind the 8 ball. I want to talk to y'all about Gametime, right? The thing about Gametime, you ever been like frustrated where you really wanted to go to an event, you wanted to go to a game, and you go there and you look at the tickets and you're like, man, I can't find any last minute tickets, right? And there were no good deals at all, right? I mean, it's happened to me, several times, right? So here's the deal. You shouldn't have to worry when you're buying tickets to your next big event. Gametime is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all sports, music, comedy, theater events near you. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, view your seat, and their best price guarantee. Guarantee takes the Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying tickets. We can all be happy with that, right? Now, how do you get it, right? I know you want to ask that. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code Locked On NBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Well, look, I want to thank you guys for making Locked On 76ers your first listen. Tomorrow we'll talk about things that happened at Monday's shoot around. I'm not shoot around. Monday's media day. What am I talking about? At Monday's media day, and give an updated on Harden and everything like that. Now here's the deal. So we're talking about that. So if you look at the Sixers and you see where these other teams, there was video that I saw Monday morning on the IG, on Dame Lillard's IG page, where he was getting the workout in the Milwaukee Bucks practice facility, right? Drew Holiday, I don't know if he's going to be there for media day today in Boston, but they're all settled. You look at the Sixers and we're still talking about this Harden situation, right? We are, it's one of those things where he doesn't want to be here. And it's the Sixers' best bet to move him. But the Sixers really want to get an all-star player or something that will help them deliver an all-star caliber player. As it other players you can use as assets, is it draft picks, what have you. But it's like, man, you look at it and it's October. I mean, it's like October, early October. And it's a long season. We get that. But when you think of what these other two teams are doing comparable to the Sixers, you say, like, man, then you ask yourself, has the Sixers window closed? Right? Has it? I mean, on Sunday, when news broke that Drew Holiday was going to Boston, Joel Embiid tweeted, "This offseason has been fun." You know what I mean? Laughing my butt off, right? LMBO, right? The thing is, it's like it hasn't been fun for the Sixers. It hasn't. Now it's been fun for everybody else. And if you're Joel Embiid, you're looking at what those two teams did. You're looking and you're seeing what the Phoenix Suns did. You're looking and you're seeing what other teams did in regards to like shoring up players and getting other players. And then you have to ask yourself, like, are we trying to win here? And then, not only that, it's one of those things where, Tyrese Maxey didn't get an extension. Why? Because they want to be able to free up some money to whereas they can get another max type player in free agency and then, give Tyrese Maxey his money. The thing is, though, what if the season's a failure? What if Joel says, hey, I just don't want to be here anymore? I mean, do you blame him? No. I mean, there's been no continuity. Now, you can argue that, and Joel will have to admit this himself, the fact that they didn't get out of the second round all those years, he has to take some of the blame too. I mean, he has some duds, like last game 7 against the Boston Celtics in the second round. He delivered a dud. But when you look at these other teams, the core players, the complementary players, teams are going all in where it seems like the Sixers keep pushing the goalposts back. Like, don't worry, we'll get it next year or things like that. And, they say that they want to win. but it just seems like for whatever reason, it just all right, better next year. Now, the thing is, you understand that I will say that when the first year when they got Al Horford out of there and they got Danny Green, it's Seth Curry. Um, I felt like that was a good start. Unfortunately, they didn't stick with these guys, right? I mean, but then they traded for James Harden, right? They had Andre Drummond, the next year to go with it, and they traded for Harden. That didn't work out. So now it just seems like the best thing for them to do is if they struggle this year, they got a lot of guys on expiring contracts or signed to 1-year deals. So they're going to have a plethora of cap space next year. But the thing is, I remember when I first got on this beat in 2013-14 season, it was a rebuild. And it was all for this upcoming season, right? Or not this upcoming season, but for this little where we are right now, like these last couple years. Like this was supposed to be the time where the 76ers like challenged for a championship. And you look at it, and they didn't do any better in the postseason than they did before they started the process. I mean, when you think about it, 2 years before they started the process, they lost to the Boston Celtics in 7 games in the second round of the playoffs. 7 games. That Boston Celtics squad was loaded, right? And they lost to them in 7 games. This past season, where the Sixers had the MVP and Joel Embiid, they had James Harden, a future Hall of Famer. They had all these other guys, right? And they lost to the Boston Celtics in the second round in Game 7 of the playoffs, right? So you look at it and you say to yourself, like, what's changed? What's changed? Unfortunately for the Sixers, nothing has changed. I mean, that's just unfortunate, but nothing has changed. So, the next couple weeks, we want to pay attention to see what happens, see what the team does, see who they can, if they can get something with James Harden, see if he reports, and if he reports, how does he act? It's going to be a lot of storylines, believe me, there are a lot of new faces on the team. They'll go over in the preseason game on Sunday against Drew Holiday, so they'll get to see him up close. But it's a preseason game, the first one, so you don't really expect much. Heck, some players may not even play, right? But it's one of those things. Hey, I want to thank y'all for listening and have a blessed day.